everybody, and welcome to this ASMR Christmas video. I'm not sure what gives it away more that this is a Christmas video, the title or my attire, although I'm just sort of realising now the headphones on top of this. I think it's meant to be a Santa hat, but it looks like those old sleep hats that people used to wear, like that Scrooge wears. Where shall I put it? I'll put it there like that. I look a bit like an elf. And then I've also, I don't want to expose my belly, but I'm wearing a Christmas jumper with Buddy the Elf on, which is without a doubt my all-time favourite Christmas movie. I think I bought this in Primark a few years ago. Absolute bargain. But anyways, today's video we're going to be taking a look at some hilarious and embarrassing Christmas stories, some anonymous confessions from various parts of Christmas. I believe we're going to start with some confessions about Christmas office parties, and then we're going to move into what else we got. I've actually forgotten what I found. Just some general Christmas horror stories, I think, and I've skimmed them, and some of these are pretty hilarious, so hopefully you get comfortable and find this video entertaining and relaxing, and Merry Christmas everybody. I hope you have a wonderful time, but let's get on with today's video. So we're going to begin with this article, Hilarious Office Christmas Party Confessions. Beginning with cutting it fine. And these are quite short, so we're just going to rattle through these and I'll give my initial reaction to them. But this one says, I was working in a restaurant as a chef. The Christmas party came around and I was chopping up some bits to eat. I was trying to impress the waitress by finally chopping basil without breaking eye contact with her. I ended up cutting off a good chunk of my finger. Never lived that one down. I haven't attempted the stare and chop since. I did get a date with her though. Well, you lose a bit of your finger, but you've secured the girl of your dreams, so, you know, you're giving your take, don't you, realistically? Oh, this one is literally one sentence long. I made off with an entire tray of donuts and then projectile vomited them all over the carpet. Spilling more than wine. At my last office Christmas do, I planned to speak to the big boss, hoping to impress her enough for a promotion. Such a bad idea. We got chatting and things were going really well. That is, until a child ran past and knocked me, making me spill my drink. I started to moan about how people shouldn't bring children to work events, when she suddenly went red in the face. That's my son, she said, and walked off. Surprise, surprise, I didn't get the promotion. Grease is the word. Our office party had a Grease theme, but only the new guy dressed up. Apparently he had to buy everything in the outfit except the bra. Why is he dressed as Sandy? I'll put an image on screen now. Fair enough. I kind of respect it, to be fair. Next up, karaoke queen. At one particular Christmas party, there was a karaoke machine. Everyone aside from me was too shy to sing, so I thought I'd get the party started with a rendition of Bryan Adams' Everything I Do. Everyone cheered, and I guess that's when I decided no one else was getting the microphone. I have a hazy recollection of being asked to give it a rest during a lively version of It's Raining Men. My work friends tell me the paddle boat returned to the pier to let me off, and then everyone else girls continued with their Christmas party. So wait, they dropped her off because she was being so annoying. Not so smart casual. Went to the office holiday party like this. Didn't know corporate was going to be there. I think it looks pretty sick, to be honest. I think wearing that kind of thing is a talking point, right? You've instantly got an icebreaker with people you may not know, so to be honest, I quite like it, to be honest. Last year at my Christmas party, I was trying to do Gangnam Style not very well while holding my drink. I spilled it on the floor and one of my colleagues walked past and fell over. They had to go to A&E, where they found out that they had broken their arm. Absolute belter of a song that I want to dance. Sushi, Hit and Run. This one is very short and to the point as well. Showed up early, ate all of the sushi, chugged 5 beers in 5 minutes and left before almost anyone showed up. I would say that's less of like a fail, more efficient. This man knew he didn't want to hang about. He went for the free sushi, the free beer, and left. I respect it. I like it. My feet got sore from wearing heels, so I drunkenly went and got my pair of fuzzy black and white polka dot house slippers from my car and wore them for the rest of the night. I still cringe and ask my partner why he let that happen. To be fair, I don't think that's any worse than when girls take their heels off and just walk around in bare feet. If anything, you're being more hygienic by having something on your feet. And they sound nice anyway, so. And we've got here a new reason to hate sprouts. I arrived at my new job, and the first thing I received was a letter from a lady who did not work for us, with a cleaning bill for a suit that had been ruined by flying sprouts at the bar where we had our Christmas party. What on earth? I don't really understand that one. Who was the aggressor in this situation? The first thing I've received, so they've only just joined this job. I don't really get that one. Let's move on to the next one. So, I've got a few more of this Christmas party stories here. Let's have a look. My friend's sister got promoted after an office party because her very drunk boss managed to vomit all over her. She told him the next day and his response was, "Oh my goodness, I'm very sorry. Would a promotion help? I'll buy you a new dress too." She ended up working for him for a while. Yeah, I'm not surprised. She was probably like trying to get him drunk every Christmas party to try and just keep securing those promotions. That's what I would do anyway. I had a past boss who'd always have a Christmas barbecue and pool party. A barbecue. He'd typically invite some of the staff but not everyone, and there was never any rhyme or reason as to who was invited. This sounds like Robert California from The Office. They weren't the employees of the month or just the senior managers. It appeared to only be the people he liked at the time. A new person didn't realise that and thought everyone was invited and asked another woman to give her a lift. Oh, this is so sad. The new person then told the boss, "I can make it. Sue will be giving me a lift to the party." And the boss said, "Sue is not invited. Please uninvite her." So the new girl had to go over and tell Sue, "I'm sorry, you're not invited to the pool party." Great for morale. That is brutal. I mean, this boss clearly doesn't care, because if that was me in that situation, I would just let her come, avoid the confrontation. But to be fair, he did delegate the awkwardness, so whatever. Swimming with sharks, this next one is titled. We had a holiday party on a barge, and a different company were having their party on the top floor. One of the female guests from that party had way too much to drink, and between dinner and dessert, she stumbled down the flight of stairs. The next thing we heard was her screaming, "Fine then, I'll just go," and she jumped overboard into waters we all knew were shark infested. Her date, knowing there was no way she could survive given how drunk she was, emptied his pockets and jumped in after her. They had to stop the boat, call the police, and ended the trip for the rest of us. No idea what happened to the jumpers, and I didn't get any dessert, but at least I have a good story to tell. So this woman and her partner have jumped into shark-infested waters, and you're upset that you didn't get a creme brulee. Selfish. Here we've got one called Secret Santa Fail. It's nice to be able to have a laugh with your boss, but at our party, the CEO bought the project manager a Project Management for Dummies book as a Secret Santa gift. Unfortunately, she didn't see the funny side and actually left the room crying. That is brutal. I'll never forget the Christmas party I went to where a new colleague who'd been there all of a week got extremely drunk. 1 hour in, she vomited all over herself and her new team. Impressive. He then carried her outside, where she promptly rolled herself up in a bunch of garbage bags and passed out. Goodness me. Hypnotist Hijinks is the name of this one. When I was at university, I worked at a supermarket, and I developed a massive crush on the assistant manager, who had a girlfriend. For our Christmas party, we were all put on a party bus to the event at a plush venue a few hours away, and I ended up getting very drunk and agreed to be hypnotised as part of the show the company had organised. I was hypnotised to believe that my underwear was shrinking, and I ended up removing my bra and threw it at my bosses and colleagues. Then, half a bottle of vodka later, I was busted making out with my assistant manager crush in a utility room, while sitting in the sink topless. For weeks after the party, the assistant manager couldn't even look at me. Don't really know too much how to sort of respond to that one, if I'm honest. Well done, I guess. Congrats. Some Christmas parties you find out far more about your co-workers than you want to. I remember one party where a colleague of mine got so blitzed that she regaled a few of us with her past escapades in wife swapping. File that under things I never want to know about a co-worker. That is so weird. And the final office party confession. You know, people who end up using the photocopier for things other than photocopying. At one of our Christmas shindigs, we had that guy. He tried to photocopy his bum, but managed to smash the glass in the process and ended up in hospital with shards of glass sticking out of his arse. No way. Merry Christmas, it ends. That's bad. But people actually do that with photocopiers still, I feel like. That's something you just kind of see in movies or whatever. But yeah, those were some Christmas office party confessions. Let me know if you've got any Christmas party stories, and feel free to share them below. Obviously, feel free to redact your own name if it's embarrassing. But what have we got next? Let's have a little look. So, I think now we've literally just got people telling us their funny Christmas stories and a few Christmas horror stories. So, let's have a little look. We'll begin with this one. My sister and I stayed up really late Christmas Eve. We removed all of our youngest brother's presents from under the tree. We emptied his stocking completely. We stowed all the presents behind the couch. We put all of his stocking stuffers in a bag. He was like 8 years old. We meticulously, I love that word, meticulously wrapped and put bows on boxes to him. We filled these boxes with charcoal, bricks, and Q-tips. They say I can't remember why we chose Q-tips. On Christmas morning, he got to go first because he was the youngest. He tore into his first box and his face just dropped. He went out of turn and ripped open present number 2, also coal and Q-tips. He ran into the other room where the stockings were and dumped his out. It was a plastic bag filled with charcoal and Q-tips. He absolutely lost it. My parents had no idea what we'd done. I think my dad was ready to just beat us for ruining Christmas. So my brother finally got it together and we showed him where we stashed all his toys and where we put his stocking contents. He was happy as hell after that. To this day, some 25 years later, I still get called the Christmas Grinch by my whole family. Everyone conveniently forgets how complicit my sister was in this. Those presents didn't wrap themselves and I suck at wrapping. What a horrible thing to do, but I really wish I'd done that to my younger siblings. I mean, I still could, to be fair. And my bedroom that you see behind me is downstairs, so I do in fact have the best access in the house to the stockings once Santa has visited, so... But honestly, I don't think my younger sister would get over the trauma of opening coal, even if she ended up getting her actual presents. And now we've got some people disclosing their worst Christmas horror stories. Oh, I've just read the tagline for one of these. Oh my gosh. Okay. We begin with Olivia, 22, saying he was crying outside my front door. So, me and my ex broke up a couple of Christmases ago. I said to him we're going to have separate celebrations, so he agreed to spend Christmas with his parents, and I would spend Christmas with mine. On Christmas Day, my family had sat down to open presents when my mum's phone started ringing. It was my ex calling my mum. He was crying outside my front door. He turned up with absolutely no forewarning whatsoever. He was very drunk and his mum had brought him to come and talk to me. My mum invited him and his mum in because she felt bad, and they ended up sitting in my house for about an hour. I was crying because I was drunk and I just didn't want him there. My auntie, my dad and my granddad were all crying too, because it was the first Christmas without my grandma. Oh gosh. His mum was crying to my nan. It was an absolute disaster. What a jolly old time. Sounds like great fun. Give me that over Boggle any day. Right. The next one's titled, I go into the corner of the room and start peeing. I went to the pub on Christmas Eve 2019 and got absolutely steaming. Then I wake up on Christmas Day, go downstairs, and there's like an atmosphere. I go into the kitchen and my mum's like, do you know what you did last night? I was like, what? No. Apparently, during the night, I'd got up while sleepwalking and gone to the toilet. But I'd gone into my brother's room instead, where he's asleep with his girlfriend. So I just go into the corner of the room and start peeing. My brother's girlfriend wakes up. She thinks I'm my brother, so she's like, Will, what the hell are you doing? Then she realises that I'm peeing in the room, so she screams. My brother wakes up and he's like, what the hell are you doing? F off, get out of my room. I go back to bed, blissfully unaware of what happened. I bought my brother's girlfriend some flowers and she came back round in the afternoon. Next one is titled, She Fell Onto the Sofa and Flashed Everyone. This was Christmas 2012. My parents split up, and at the time my sister was living in a house that was behind my dad and stepmom's house. And so we were doing half of Christmas there, half at my dad's. My stepmom had all her family around, including her 103-year-old grandma, and the reserved people, 103. Well played, although I would hate to live that long. Then we hear the clip-clopping of drunkenly staggering heels, and it was my mum. My mum had basically gotten absolutely hammered and then put on one of my sister's going-out dresses. Like this proper tight little black dress. She rang the doorbell and came in and introduced herself, slurring all over the place, then just fell onto the sofa and flashed everyone. I blocked it out mentally for years because it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Fair enough. Oh, we're coming up to the one which has the maddest title ever, but first, I spent the first hours of Christmas Day in hospital. This was probably about 15 years ago now. It was Christmas Eve and I went up to my stepbrother's room at about 11 at night and started banging on his door and singing Christmas carols really loudly. I love that, that's awesome. My stepbrother opened his door, told me to shut up and F off, then slammed the door in my face. The bottom of his wooden door met perfectly with my big toenail on my right foot and ripped it clean off. Oh. It was hanging off by a tiny thread of my nail matrix. I spent the first hours of Christmas Day getting about hospital in a wheelchair, with my dad waiting to get it dressed and bandaged. That is so grim. I'm literally going to skip on to the next one now. I'm not going to read the title of this one, because this is probably the maddest one yet. Here we go. This was when I was 15 or 16, which is more than old enough to know better. It was about 9 AM on Christmas morning. My brother told me to go ask my parents what they wanted for breakfast, because one of our Christmas traditions is to make breakfast in bed for our parents. So he was like, go ask them what they want for breakfast in bed, whether it's pancakes or eggy bread or whatever. I didn't knock. You can probably see where this is going. I didn't knock, and I just walked straight into their room, and I saw my dad, and this is a direct quote. I saw my dad balls deep in my mum, and it was not great. That vision was just etched into my brain for the rest of Christmas. I love that they've gone, yeah, saw my dad balls deep in my mum. Wasn't great. Like, I feel like they're massively downplaying that fact. I think I would quite possibly be absolutely scarred if I saw that. But no, apparently it just wasn't great. It's kind of silly on the parents' part if they have this recurring breakfast Christmas tradition and they're aware their child might come in to take their order at any moment. Why on earth are they shaking the bed before the presents are even open? But fair enough. And then this one, it was a box of live locusts. Me and my housemates did our secret Santa within 2 hours by running around town to get stuff for each other. So we all unwrap our presents and everyone's got each other dumb games and things. And then I opened mine, and it was a box of live locusts from the exotic pet store around the corner from our house. I don't think I've ever been so horrified by a present in my life. I took them back to the pet shop and they were like, oh, I'm really sorry, we can't give you the money back. I said, please just take them away from me. These were also ones which had a warning label saying you couldn't release them in the UK because they'd cause crop damage. Blimey, I can't believe there's a store that actually, sells that, to be honest. But I was going to say, if you had the tank and stuff, it'd be a pretty cool pet to have, to be honest. Right, this final article is 19 Christmas horror stories that are so hilariously bad, terrifying, and or unthinkably heartbreaking. No other way to put it. And they're quite short, so let's rattle. box that my dad left in the garage, and it had a giant picture of the bike I got printed on the side. Oh, that's sad. This is a question I'd also like everyone to put down below. How did your parents break it to you that Santa wasn't real? My mum did it pretty brutally, to be honest. I was writing a letter to Santa, and how old must I have been? I was only probably about 24. Anyway, I was writing this letter to Santa, and Mum goes, "You know who writes the reply letters, right?" And I said, "Santa." And she said, "No, it's your nan." And I was like, "What?" And she just said, "Yeah, your nana writes the replies, Santa doesn't write them." And that was sort of that. What really, I wasn't actually 24, by the way, if you couldn't pick up on the sarcasm. I think I was 9 or 10. But what really rubbed salt in the wounds was I'd asked for Star Wars Revenge of the Sith on DVD, and I was rejected by Santa, but obviously I was rejected by my nan, because she'd written, "I've checked my book and you're not quite 12 years old yet," so I didn't even get the one thing I asked for, and I found out Santa wasn't real. So all in all, pretty miserable Christmas if you ask me. But yeah, let me know how you found out that Father Christmas wasn't real. And for those of you who still believe that Santa is real, then you now have a story you can comment. I was watching an ASMR video, and he told me Santa wasn't real. Sorry. Anyways, moving on. I was opening presents with my then boyfriend in front of his huge religious family. We'd been together for some time, and we all thought he was going to propose. They all waited with bated breath while I opened the tiny envelope from him that he had put a lot of thought into. The envelope contained... The envelope contained a gift certificate for laser mole removal. I couldn't decide whether to cry or laugh. Never once had I expressed any interest in this. We broke up shortly thereafter. That is mental. So not only has he not proposed, but he's also given his girlfriend probably a huge complex about moles. Although I will say, I would take a gift certificate for laser mole removal, because I've got bloody loads and I could do with a few of them getting rid of, to be honest. On Christmas Eve in 2019, I was at work and I got a call from my uncle saying that I needed to go find my dad. His wife of 22 years, my stepmom, was caught in an affair with a co-worker and she had just left him. He was an absolute wreck. I threw some of his things in a suitcase and we drove 3 hours plus in a snowstorm on Christmas Eve, on White Christmas, W, to take him to my uncle's house. My husband and I didn't have a big enough apartment for him to stay. Oh, that's just sad, isn't it? That is heartbreaking. Gosh. My stomach's going. Oh, I kind of want to go back to, like, the funny ones. Let's have a look. Oh, that one's sad as well. That's about divorce. Let's read this one. My uncle got sent a letter. He got there a little before Christmas, and it was from his 18-year-old son that he did not know he had. So yeah, he told us at Christmas. That's mad. What a nice little present. Years ago, I was dating a guy for a few months when Christmas rolled around, so I splurged a bit and got him a GPS to help him find his way. Thoughtful, useful, but not too sentimental. It felt perfect for where the relationship was at the time. And he gave me an MMA magazine that had clearly been read. I do not like MMA, not even a little bit, nor have I ever expressed interest in MMA, not once. He, on the other hand, loved all things MMA. Trying to move on, I politely thanked him, set the magazine down, and refocused on the next gift. Okay, so we can still salvage this Christmas with the next one. was a DVD with the cellophane wrapper missing. He got a little quiet, then sheepishly volunteered. I got bored, so I watched the movie yesterday. I slowly responded, so you got me a magazine because you wanted to read it, and then watched the movie you got for me because you were bored. His only response was, yeah, I guess so. We broke up a week later. Well, you could argue that him giving you that MMA magazine was his attempt to try and find common ground with you, and really, I think it's quite thoughtful, to be honest. Definitely not a crap present. When I was a toddler, we were supposed to go to Savannah to visit my mum's family for Christmas. My dad said he couldn't go because he lost his wallet. Oh no. Turns out, some prostitutes he had slept with took his money, identification cards, and all of the cocaine he'd been carrying. We ended up going to Georgia without him. Unsurprisingly, my parents are not together anymore, and I'm estranged from my father. Yeah, fair enough. So, it wasn't my family, thank God, but one of my friends. Her uncle got caught cheating at the dinner table when his phone buzzed and her aunt saw the incoming text. She started screaming and crying, throwing her dinner at him. My friend dared to laugh, so then her aunt turned on her and started insulting her and telling her how she'd never get a man. I don't really think that's sort of the insult you can throw at somebody after you've found out that your man hasn't been loyal to you, because technically you haven't got an actual man. My brother liked that joke. So then the mum stands up and starts to yell, and the whole family gets involved. The aunt starts to insult everyone, calling them backstabbers and lowlifes, and then calls me an intruding female dog. I've never visited a friend over the holidays since. Gosh. I'm sort of skipping over the sad ones. Okay. My dad's family lives up in Canada, so every Christmas we would fly up there to visit everyone. This time my brother is about 6 and I'm about to turn 8. Perfect age for travelling nightmares, right? Well, God decides to peel out snow all over the Toronto airport, and we spent 8 hours on Christmas Eve trapped inside said airport. My brother and I are being horribly bratty because we're hungry and want to open presents and run around. Finally, after the 8-hour delay, we get on our plane and end up back landing around 1 AM. Now, it's at this point that my mother realises she has no food at home for us to eat. She's got 2 starving up to late brats and no food. The only place open is at Waffle House, so we had our Christmas dinner at Waffle House. The other people in there, a bunch of drunk mall Santas who told my brother and I that we were being lied to, and this whole Santa thing was a load of bullshit, or that might be the best finding out Santa isn't real story. There are worse places to have Christmas dinner though, right? That's not too bad. My dad and uncle got into a physical fight over who would buy my grandfather a new chair. Dad's glasses and my uncle's nose were broken. I would say your dad won, so well done. Let's have a look. My husband's stepmother gave me, a 36-year-old at the time, a kindergarten-sized backpack for Christmas. When I opened it, she said, I actually bought that for a child a few years ago and she hated it. So I threw it in a closet and I saw it and thought you'd like it. None of us did, we all think it's ugly. Oh, lovely. One Christmas, my brother and father got into a fight and cops had to be called. My brother was arrested and spent the next 3 months in jail. Oh my gosh. Deary me. Right, let's let's see if there's one more good one to finish on. One more good one. Let's have a look. So ridiculous. We'll end with this one. My grandmother went out to the garage to smoke after Christmas dinner and intentionally slammed her arm in the car door, breaking her wrist in the process. Why? She wanted to see if her pain medication was working. Needless to say, her experiment caused us to spend the rest of Christmas in the emergency room. And that, everybody, was some insane, worrisome. That was hilarious Christmas stories. I thoroughly enjoyed reading those, and I hope you found this video relaxing and as entertaining as I did. Once again, everybody, really Merry Christmas. There will be just one more video this year after this one, and it'll just be a nice little ramble recapping the year and also talking about what's to come next year on the channel, the plans I've got, and how we can take all sorts ASMR to the next level. So look out for that between Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. But that is going to do it for tonight's video. So as always, if you did enjoy this video, then please give it a like